Dobra večer svima. Evo, danas nam je opet jedna od naših posebnih emisija sa zaista posebnom gošćom. To je Anita Moorjani. Anita, dobra večer i dobrodošli u našu emisiju.
Anita, hello and welcome to our online show.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm very happy to be here.
Evo ga, pretpostavljam da većina vas koji danas gledate već znate priču o Aniti. Međutim, evo ga, čisto radi uvoda, ja ću ispričati, odnosno pročitat ću riječi koje sam našla na stranicama WBZ-a, hrvatskog izdavača Anitine knjige. Pa evo šta kaže čisto malo o njoj. I zloćudnim stanicama. Tijelo Anite Moorjani je počelo otkazivati. Anita je bila bolesna imala je karcinom limfnih žlijeza. Anita je ležala na granici između života i smrti, a onda je spoznala svoju urođenu vrijednost i stvarni uzrok svoje bolesti. Dok je polako dolazila k sebi, shvatila je da je stanje pokušalo vjerojatnom brzinom. Iz bolnice je otpuštena u roku od samo nekoliko tjedana, a pretrage su pokazale da u njezinom tijelu više nema ni traga zloćudnim stanicama. Njoj se zaista, čim se probudila iz kome, njoj se počelo stanje rapidno poboljšavati, u roku nekoliko dana se zapravo dogodilo veliko, a u roku nekakva 3 tjedna tijelo je bilo potpuno čisto, dakle više nije bilo metastaza, nije bilo stanica raka. Anita Moorjani je rođena u Hong Kongu, živjela je, dakle pripadnica je tradicionalne hinduske obitelji u većinski kineskom i britanskom društvu. Ona je tako radi toga bila od djetinjstva razapeta između svoje kulture i vjere iz sredine u kojoj je živjela. Godinama je pokušavala krivotvoriti vlastiti put kako bi ispunila tuđe očekivanja, a zahvaljujući prosvjetljenju koje je doživjela u drugoj dimenziji, spoznala je da ima moć izliječiti se sama i da u svemiru postoje čuda za koja prije nije niti znala. S obzirom na svoje podrijetlo i da se škola u britanskim školama, multilingvalna je, odrasla je govoreći istodobno engleski, kineski i indijski, a u školi je učila i francuski. Godinama prije nego što je u travnju 2002. godine dijagnosticiran karcinom, radila je u poslovnom sektoru. Njezino fascinantno i dirljivo iskustvo bliske smrti početkom 2006. godine iz temelja je promijenilo njezin pogled na život. Sve što danas radi ispunjeno je istinskim stanama koje je stekla dok je bila u drugoj dimenziji. Evo, ovo bi bilo vrlo kratko o Aniti. Nećemo u ovoj emisiji govoriti puno o bolesti, govorit ćemo jako malo ako se budemo takli. Ono što nas zanima to je sve ono što je bilo zapravo nakon bolesti, sve ono što je Anita naučila, sve poruke koje je donijela. Jer evo srećom ne moramo svi proći kroz to jedno vrlo bolno i teško iskustvo, teških bolesti i umiranja. Ne moramo biti svi izloženi patnji, niti mi, ni naše obitelji, jer je zaista velikoj patnji bila izložena Anita i njezina obitelj. Nego zaista evo imamo tu priliku da učimo iz njenog iskustva i njenih poruka, jer ona sigurno nije vraćena bez razloga. Pa evo moje prvo pitanje, evo draga moja Jejo, naša fantastična prevoditeljica, za Anitu bi bilo, ono što mene osobno jako zanima, kako je gore?
Yeah. Anita, the first question that Karmen really wants to know is, what is it like out there or up there?
It's so beautiful. It is so incredible. First of all, it felt like that I could be anywhere at any time. So there's no time when we are not in our body, when I was not in my body. It's like I could travel anywhere, and it's like if I think of something, if I think of my brother, I'm with him right away. But time has no meaning. Even I can see my past lives, I could even see my future, all at the same time. But the best part was the feeling of lightness and expansion, and also that feeling of unconditional love. It was for the first time that I ever remember feeling that I'm loved just because I exist. I don't have to do anything or prove anything to feel that love. I don't have to earn that love from anyone. I'm just loved. It was just, it's like, it was just the most amazing feeling. And every time I remember it, I just miss it so much. I mean, I know that when we die, we have nothing to be afraid of. Just very, very beautiful.
Da, to mi je zaista fascinantno. Anita, ono što me zanima, to je većina tih iskustava bliske smrti se u jako puno stvari podudaraju. Mislim, postoje i neke razlike. Ona nije imala iskustvo nekakvog tunela, nije se sretala sa nekakvim vjerskim likovima i to. Samo moje pitanje, što ona misli, da li to iskustvo koje mi doživljavamo kada odemo na drugu stranu, da li je ono vezano uz naš život, uz našu pozadinu, vjersko opredjeljenje ili nešto, ili je to nešto što zapravo svi ljudi na svijetu doživljavaju potpuno isto?
Anita, the next question relates to your near-death experience. Karmen noted that many people who do experience near-death experience, there are some similarities between them. But there are also differences. For example, you did mention that you experienced some kind of a tunnel, or that you maybe saw some religious characters or anything like that. Do you think that our experience of dying of death is basically also depends upon our background and the things that we believe in? Or is it a common experience, or is it more personalized?
What I actually started to find out, because as I started to research what happened to me, and I spoke to many people, and also I spoke to many researchers of near-death experiences, they told me that one commonality is that when it is a sudden death, like for example, if someone has a heart attack, and so it's very sudden, or an accident, and it may be a near-death experience, but it happens very suddenly. They're completely well, and then something happens. Then they experience the tunnel. It's sort of like their soul or their spirit is like all of a sudden separating from their body. And so they suspect that that might be what the tunnel effect is. But in my case, it was a very gradual deterioration. And so I was like slowly, body was deteriorating, and it was almost like, because I had cancer for 4 years, but of course the last 6 months were the worst. The last 6 weeks before my NDE were the absolute worst, where I was already ready to die, ready to leave my body. And so by the last point, it was just a small transition. So because of the gradualness, I didn't experience that drastic tunnel effect. That is what was explained to me by some people who have researched many, many cases. The other thing in, for example, the religious figures and so on, what I have come to understand also from talking to other people is that at that time of our crossing, we tend to still be for a little bit in that moment of crossing. We are still partly attached to this world and partly attached to that world. So what happens is that our loved ones, or it could be God, or whatever we want to call it, because in that state, it's all one, it's all universal energy, it's all loved ones, God, it's all merged together. But they appear to us in the way that is most comforting to us, because we still have a little bit of attachment to this world. And so they don't want to scare us. So whether they appear in the form of Jesus or Buddha or Allah or Krishna or as my own father, it's whatever will comfort us the most. That is what will come forward. but they are all connected in that realm. That's my understanding of it.
Ono što mene zanima, pitaj Anitu da li se nekad uštipne, da li se stvarno njoj to događa. Dakle, cijela priča i ozdravljenje i sav život koji sada vodi i to što njezine riječi toliko puno ljudima daju i snage, mnogima utjehu. Da li ima ono osjećaj, wow?
Karmen wanted to know, do you ever pinch yourself to check if you're dreaming, if this really happened to you? The whole illness and recovery, and now this journey of you sharing your message throughout the world, and it's a really powerful message that a lot of people relate to. Does it seem unbelievable to you, like you're living a dream, sort of?
There are times, yes, it absolutely does feel like a dream, and there are times when I feel that maybe I didn't wake up from the coma, maybe this is heaven, maybe I am heaven, and what I'm living right now is heaven, because my life has been so different. It has been so different. And very often I believe that maybe I didn't come back to life, and I'm experiencing heaven right now. And all of you are in my heaven.
Da, ovo je stvarno jako lijepo. Vjerujem da zaista to je tako kao što Anita kaže. Jeju pita je, s obzirom puno ljudi umre i ne vrate se. Sve više ljudi na nekakav način ima iskustvo bliske smrti. Međutim, ipak ovo što se događa sa Anitom, dakle da je imala jedno tako snažno iskustvo i da se sve nekako u njezinom životu slaže u tom smislu i smjeru da ona ide, da ona drži predavanja, da ona piše knjige, da zaista dopire do ljudi. Da li ima osjećaj da je ona upravo radi toga vraćena? Ili ajmo još bolje, pita je što ona misli, zašto je ona, baš ona od svih tih ljudi, zašto je vraćena. Sa tako čudesnim izlječenjem, dakle bez posljedica, u tako kratkom, jednostavno niko, ni medicina, ni niko ne može zatvarati oči.
Mm-hmm. Anita, the next question relates to the reason why you came back. We all know that a lot of people who experience near-death experiences, a lot more just cross over and of course do not come back. Do you really feel there is a reason behind your coming back? Did you feel it? Do you feel it in your nowadays life?
Yes, absolutely. I feel there was a reason why I came back. Actually, there were many reasons. First of all, though, I want to say that those who didn't come back, I want people to know that it's not because they lost their battle with cancer or whatever, or that they somehow failed, because maybe they are the blessed ones. They got to stay on that side. That side is very, very beautiful. Maybe I'm the one who didn't, pass the test, so to speak, so I got sent back. But what I want to say is that with reasons, one of the things I felt is that my father made me feel that there were still a lot of gifts waiting for me on this side. What I felt was that if I didn't come back, I would be losing out on those gifts. And it was the way he kind of made me understand was that I had spent a lifetime of suffering, but now I was about to get the rewards from the suffering. So if I didn't go back, I would not experience those rewards. The other thing I realized was that my husband, Danny, and my purpose was linked. And if I didn't go back, then he would not be able to fulfill his purpose. So I understood that my purpose was not yet fulfilled. And in order to completely fulfill it, I'd only partially fulfilled it with the suffering. But now to complete the circle or complete the cycle, I had to go back. And even Danny could not complete his full purpose if I didn't go back. So that was another thing that compelled me to go back. I believe that people who don't go back, their purpose has already been fulfilled here in this physical life. And I could see from that realm, I could see my future. And it's interesting, I wrote about this in 2006 when it happened, and it's still on the original NDE website where I wrote it. Before my book came out, before anything happened, I wrote that I could see my future, that I was supposed to be talking to thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people about something, but I didn't understand, I didn't know from that state, what am I talking to them about? I was supposed to be inspiring people, but I didn't know about what, because I couldn't believe that. I've never been a speaker before, so or anything, so I didn't know, I couldn't believe what it was for. But I understood that I didn't have to go and chase or pursue it to find out. I just had to be me. I just had to be true to myself, and it would just unfold before me. I would see it happen before me. And it's really, I don't know, it's more than deja vu, but it's incredible because that's really what has happened. And I'm glad I wrote about it at that time so people can see that I'm not just saying this now. I really wrote about it in 2006 that I'm supposed to be speaking or inspiring or talking to lots of people.
Evo sad kad je Anita spomenula da je pisala, ja ću iskoristiti priliku pa ću reći, njezine knjige su prevedene na jako puno jezika, pitat će me na koliko, mislim na 30 i nešto. Već su prevedene u Sloveniji i u Srbiji i u Bosni, a evo ga, jedna jako zgodna slučajnost, od sutra, njezina knjiga koja je izdana u izdanju VBZ-a, je u prodaji u Hrvatskoj, znači na kioscima tiska i u knjižarama, izvrsna knjiga sa fantastičnim prijevodom, zaista je fantastičan prijevod, tako da evo, ako vas Anita nadahne, inspirira, uzmite knjigu, ja sam sigurna da ćete se češće vraćati, zaista je jako, jako puna lekcija koje možemo naučiti, a sad ćemo pitati Anitu, da nam kaže koje su najvažnije stvari i lekcije koje je ona gore dobila i donijela ih i sada ih živi.
Anita, we were talking about your book that has been a huge success all over the world, translated into so many languages. And a sweet coincidence is that from tomorrow in Croatia, your book is going to be published. It's also been published, I believe, in Slovenian and Bosnian as well, so taking over this Balkan region as well. So the next question relates to your message itself. What do you feel are the most important lessons that you received up there, that you brought yourself and that you're now living and also sharing with everybody?
That's a really great question. And it's the question that I love to answer the most, because the biggest lesson I learned on the other side is that we need to love ourselves like our life depends on it, because your life does depend on you loving yourself. The quality of your life is completely dependent on how much you love yourself. I learned in the other realm that the cancer I had that was ravaging my body, it was not because of some bad karma. It was not because nobody in my family ever had cancer. But I realized it was because I had lived a lifetime of not just not loving myself, but of hating myself, of putting myself down, putting myself last, treating myself like a doormat, always being a people pleaser, always trying to be what other people wanted me to be. I never, ever, ever got to know who I am. I always made myself small, never had a voice. I mean, that's why in the near-death experience, when I saw myself as speaking to audiences of thousands, I could not believe it. I thought, me? I mean, there's no way. What am I going to talk about to people? And I really always felt that I was a small, nobody, insignificant person. And it was in that realm that I truly understood that I matter, that I am amazing, that I am a piece of God, that I am a child of God, a child of the universe, and I am here to make a difference. We all are. The only difference is, do we know it or not? And in that realm, I really knew it, that every single one of us is here for a reason, for a purpose. And our purpose is to truly be who we are, to shine a light as bright as we can and just express who we are authentically. That's all. That is our purpose. And that's what I learned. That's the biggest lesson.
Da. Anita, o tome, evo mi ćemo imati u Zagrebu dvodnevnu radionicu, dakle mi ćemo 2 dana učiti o svemu ovome što ona rekla u 2 minute. Međutim, jedno pitanje koje se vrlo često nameće i postavljam ga i ja sama sebi, a vjerojatno i svi vi koji ste u ovim vodama, to je pitanje te bezuvjetne i velike ljubavi, prvenstveno prema sebi. Mi svi znamo da moramo voljeti sebe, da trebamo voljeti sebe. Ali kako to izgleda praktično? Šta moramo napraviti da zaista volimo sebe? Evo, ako može dati par tih savjeta na koji način razvijati ljubav prema sebi.
Anita, this next question relates to the unconditional love. First and foremost, the unconditional love we should feel for ourselves. We hear a lot about it in the recent years, but it seems rather difficult for some of us to really practice it. What do you consider, how do you perceive this unconditional love? How is it manifested? What would be your practical advice for the unconditional love for ourselves?
That's a great question. And first of all, I want to say why it's so difficult to practice it. First of all, we don't learn it from the time we're young. Actually, we are born knowing of this unconditional love. And the way to really know what it is to watch babies and little children and to watch your pets and your animals. None of them try to be something that they are not. They're very authentic. Unconditional love is means being authentic. That's what it really means. So it means to really be who you are, and it means that let me see if I can articulate it. When we watch little children, they don't try to please other people. They actually are completely authentic, and we are afraid of, what happens is it gets conditioned out of us as we grow. As our lives progress and we go to school, we get told that it's not good to love ourselves, that it is selfish to love ourselves, and we must put other people before us. And as we do that, we forget who we are. We completely forget who we are, and we start to be what other people want us to be. We start to put ourselves down and put other people up. And so then we lose it. And so now when we learn, oh, it's important to love ourselves, we become so scared of being judged by other people for loving ourselves. And this is, we don't do it. And so this is one of the reasons why it's very difficult. We're scared. Imagine if you walk into a room and you tell people, I love my pet, I love my child, I love my husband. That's great. Everybody will say, yeah, I do too, and that's wonderful. But if you say, I love myself, it's like, oh my God, everybody's going to think I'm selfish, I'm crazy. So here's the main thing I want to explain to people. Loving myself, first of all, is not selfish. Secondly, loving myself does not mean I suddenly become really high maintenance and I want my way all the time. People who are selfish are actually people who don't love themselves, and they are overcompensating. The other thing is, loving myself doesn't mean that I'm constantly using affirmations and telling myself that I'm great at things that I'm not great at, or constantly saying I'm beautiful. It's not about affirmations or anything like that. It's more about really staying by who I am. And again, I want to say it's not about being high maintenance, going and doing your hair and manicures. You can do all that. I have no problem with affirmations or us doing our hair or anything. But here's what loving myself really means. It means that I will love myself no matter what. Even if I completely fail, even if I lose everything, even if everybody is going to criticize me, even if I put out a book or a product and it completely bombs and everybody criticizes it or it gets bad reviews, no matter what, I will still not forsake myself. I will still stick by me. I will never treat myself like a doormat. I will never put myself down. That's what loving myself really means. And that is the promise that I made myself after I came back from the NDE, after I understood that it was years of putting myself down and putting myself last and criticizing myself and judging myself that caused my immune system to become so drained and so depleted to get cancer, that I realized that what I must do is, even if no one else sticks by me, I will be my own best friend. I will be the one person that will never, ever forsake myself. And that is a commitment that I encourage people to make with themselves.
Mislim da ću se ovom dijelu snimke jako često vraćati. Ozbiljno. Jeljo, pitaj Anitu. Dakle, ja ovo shvaćam u teoriji. Stvarno i super i zaista ću se vraćati ovom dijelu snimke često. Kako to izgleda u praktičnom životu? Znači, nekad nam se što ne. Mislim, mi svi živimo sa drugim ljudima u interakciji i jednostavno, ne znam, ako mi se danas ne kuha ručak, da li ga neću skuhati jer mi se ne kuha ili ću ga skuhati jer ipak imam neku obavezu prema obitelji. Ako mi se ne ide na posao ili na sastanak, da li neću ići jer slušam sebe ili ću ipak ići. Mislim, pitanje je čisto praktično. Kako balansirati između nekakvih obaveza i svog poštivanja sebe i svog nekakvog ritma, osobnosti, što god.
First of all, said that she's going to probably go back to this tape and rewatch it to hear your important messages, especially about the unconditional love for ourselves. But she still asked you if you could please clarify in more practical details about unconditional self-love, because we do live in a material world, we do interact with all day, every day, and how does this in everyday life? For example, if I don't want to cook lunch today because I don't feel like it, but I still have a family that depends on me to cook this lunch, or I need to go to work, I really physically don't feel like going to work. How do we actually balance this love for ourselves and our commitments and our interactions with other people and obligations?
That's a really great question. And one of the reasons why it's so difficult, it feels so difficult, is because all the choices that we have made in our lives up to now that has put us in the position we are in today. For example, you're in a job, you have a family, you have kids, you have obligations. So I'm now in this position already, and now I've decided to love myself unconditionally. Now, truthfully, what has happened is that your life, what you are living now, all these choices were not made from a place of love. If you were from the beginning, from the time you were young, if you were taught that make all your choices from love, not from fear. So now think about it. When you chose your job, you choose it from love, or did you choose it because you feared not making enough money? When you chose the kind of subjects to take at university to choose your career, did you choose it from love because these are the things I love to do, this is what I'm passionate about? Or did you choose it from fear? Fear of wanting to be what everyone else was being or what people were telling you should do because these are the things that will make you more money and so on. And I'll be very honest with you, this is a tough one for people to really take in. But even when we get married, many of us get married out of fear of not wanting to be single rather than married for love. And I'm sorry to say that this is quite common. Many people marry the wrong people simply because they want to be married. Many people have kids not because they love kids or want kids, but because, oh my God, my body clock is, I'm getting older, I better have a kid now. And then they don't realize what the child, the child completely changes our lives. So what I ask people is to say, okay, ask yourself, if you really dare to be honest, for many people this is quite difficult, if you really dare to be honest, ask yourself, if I learned to live my life out of love, what life would I be living now? Would it be the life that I'm currently living, or would it be completely different? In other words, whose life am I living right now? Is it really my own life? Is it the life that I would have chosen if I made every choice out of love? Or is it the life that everyone else expected me to have? Is that what I'm living? So what happens is that if we're honest and the answer is, I'm living the life everybody else expected me to have. So we are now left with the challenge that, this is why it's so difficult for me to now switch, because I've created a life everyone else wanted me to live. It's not my life I'm living. I'm living the life everyone else wanted me to live. I'm living up to other people's expectations. And so now we always have the choice. Should I continue to live to other people's expectations, or should I slowly start to show people that even I have needs, even I have things? And this is the part that's difficult, and this is why I say that it's very important that if we have children, encourage your children not to make decisions from fear. Every choice we make is driven by either fear or love. I have found, at least for me, those are the two things that drive my choices, either fear or love. And it's very simple. It's like, if I'm eating healthy food, am I eating it because I fear cancer and fear getting sick? Or am I eating it because I love myself, I love my body, I value my life, and I want to live long? So I would rather eat healthy food because I love myself rather than because I fear cancer. In the past, the person I used to be, I made every single decision out of fear because I did not love myself. When we love ourselves, we make our decisions out of love. When we do not love ourselves, we make our decisions out of fear. Fear of illness, fear of disappointing other people, and so on. So even when I ate healthy food, I used to make all those decisions out of fear. I was afraid of getting cancer, and that's why I ate healthy food. Today, I make my decisions out of love. So basically, the way we would introduce it in your life very, very practically, so back to your question, is how do I do it very practically? I would start asking myself a lot of questions that, okay, when I go to work, this particular job, I hate this job. Why am I here? I'm here out of fear of not having enough money. Okay, even if I don't want to quit this job yet because I still have a family to support, we should start at least being honest with ourselves and start to say, I am in this because I chose it for the wrong reasons. So I will stay with it, but I am now going to, at the same time, think about what kind of job would I choose if I loved myself. What would I do if I loved myself? And at least get a clearer understanding. And the more you start to understand and know what kind of life you would have if you loved yourself, it starts to become easier to attract that. You don't have to make the drastic decision of, oh, I'm not going to cook for my children, or, you know, because you don't want to upset your family. But you can internally start to understand, okay, this is the kind of life I would rather have. Let me see if I can slowly start to bring it in and talk to my family and say, you know, you guys, I want to tell you that I feel I don't have enough time for myself and I'm stuck cooking every day. Do you think you guys can help me? And you can only have that conversation with them when you know who you are, you know what it is you want. And the more you love yourself, the more the people around you will love you and respect you. And that's a fact. That's what I found. The people around you love you and respect you and want you to have what you want as long as you love yourself. And when you love yourself unconditionally, it is easier for you to love other people unconditionally. And what I always say is love other people unconditionally, and so that when you love them unconditionally, you will want them to have for themselves what they want. But love yourself unconditionally so that you can also have what you want. And if what they want goes against what you want, you love yourself unconditionally to also set yourself free. And I hope that makes sense.
Da. Valjda toliko uloga glumimo u životu i toliko različitih da jednostavno više čovjek i ne zna ni ko je ni što bi zapravo htio. Evo ono što mene sada zanima, ja sam zaista jako sretna i uzbuđena radi radionice koju će Anita održati u Zagrebu. Čitala sam naravno jako puno o njoj i nailazila sam na pisana svjedočanstva ljudi ili novinara koji su bili na radionici, dakle znali su Anitinu priču ili njezin znači život što je se dogodilo, čitali su, ali kada bi završila radionica oni su zaista tako pisali da su im te radionice promijenile život. Pa evo spitajem malo ako nam može kazati što se to tako događa na radionicama da ona zaista mijenja ljudima života. Ljudima koji dođu neočekujući, znate, dođete na neko predavanje, neke lijepe stvari, a onda vam se dogodi u pozitivnom smislu raspad sistema. Što ona misli da se događa na njenim radionicama?
For the next question, Karmen just noted in relation to our previous subject that we play so many roles in our lives. We just pretend to be somebody we're not, and it's sometimes hard to find our way to ourselves and to really find out who we are and what we want. Karmen says she's really excited about the workshop you're going to be doing in Zagreb next month. And she's done a lot of research about your workshops, about your life and everything. And she's encountered a number of texts and articles from journalists and from people who attended your workshops, who even before coming to your workshop knew everything about you and about your life, but nevertheless it changed their lives. What do you think is happening in your workshop? What is that profound thing that's happening? How do you explain it? Do you have any feeling? What is going on when you go out there on a stage and present your message?
That's an interesting question, and it's a good question. You know why? Because I very rarely admit this in public, but I'm going to share it with you. See, I understand that we are all connected, all of us, every single one of us. Our bodies, our physical bodies, make us feel like we're separate. But in actuality, when we're not without our bodies, when we die, we realize how crazy it was to fight each other, because we are all one, you and me, we are all facets of the same. So it's really crazy when people hate each other and shoot each other, because actually we're all just different sides of the same thing, the same universe, the same universal being. And so it's almost like two fingers of your hand fighting with each other. and thinking that they're separate and killing each other and shooting each other, because all you're doing is that you are making making the hand disabled. And this is what we do when we kill each other and when we have terrorists. We are making us disabled as a whole. In actuality, if we work together, like if all the fingers of the hand work together as a whole, we would be so much more. We could do so much more. We could be so much happier and so much better and so much more efficient. So it's totally crazy. When you die, you realize, oh my God, that was so stupid. So anyway, when you truly know this and realize it, and when you have experienced it, that wow, we're all connected, we're the same energy, you realize that when you are in the presence of someone, and you can even do this now just by knowing about it, is that when you are in the presence of someone, you can change them just by being in their presence. You don't even have to say anything. All you have to do is be in the presence of someone or a room full of people and just imagine your own energy, your own aura, your own love, just embracing all of them, or embracing the person you're next to, and they will feel it. When you go home to your families, whether it's to your husband or boyfriend or girlfriend or children, you don't have to say anything. Just feel the love you have for them, and feel it from you going to them. Feel it from your heart expanding and just embracing them all. And I swear they will feel it. And if you did this every day, you would have a very different relationship with your family. And it doesn't matter what words come out of your mouth. They will be changed by it. So basically, when I walk into every workshop, that's what I do with my audience. I just envelope them with my love, and it doesn't matter what I say. For me, the more important thing is just to love them and just to know that they're all hurting. Many of them are hurting. Many of them are in pain. And all I want to do is just hug them all, and I want them to feel at least some relief and some upliftment from their pain. But my words, it doesn't matter. That's.
Thank you. Stvarno hvala. Anita, kao što sam rekla, na radionice dolazi i doći će ovdje i kod nas isto tako. Ne samo ljudi koji sami imaju problema, nego nekada i ljudi, članovi obitelji, najdraži, najmiliji, najbliži, su ili bolesni ili su otišli. Dakle, doći će ljudi koji imaju neka iskustva. Pa evo, što Anita može njima reći? Znači, što sa ljudima, nekada imam osjećaj da je čak teže onima koji nisu osobno bolesni, ne doživljavaju osobno neku bolest, nego imaju tako nekog koji jako vole. Nekad mi se čini da se lakše taj neko pomiri sa bolešću ili sa odlaskom nego što se to pomire članovi obitelji. A ima jedna čitava tema na radionici upravo posvećena ljudima koji imaju u obitelji, među bližnjima, jedno takvo iskustvo. Pa evo, što bi Anita imala za savjetovati ljudima koji tako imaju nekoga ko je bolestan i sa čijom se bolesti teško nosi? To je teško.
Anita, there are always different kinds of people attending your workshops. Of course, there are people who are sick themselves who come to your workshops, but there are also an interesting group of people who have somebody they really love a lot, love dearly, who suffer from illness. And sometimes it appears that those people who have somebody else suffering from an illness have maybe, it's hard to say, but maybe even a harder time than the sick person themselves. What is your message to those people? Those people are sometimes even coming together in groups and forums and chat rooms, etc., sharing their experiences because it can be really hard for them. What are some words that you can offer to those people who have somebody suffering from an illness?
First of all, I completely agree that the people who take care of those suffering from an illness, especially the closest family members, they suffer a lot, and often more than the person who is sick. I was very blessed that my husband Danny really cared for me. My mother was also here taking care of me, and when I was really, really sick, I felt so close to my husband. I felt at that point that I trusted him more than anyone in the world. And to me, he's the real hero in my life and in my story, because I feel what I did is nothing compared to what he had to go through. It's so important. The role of the loved ones and the trusted ones in the life of somebody who's sick are so important that I think is understated. You know, we don't have enough resources to offer them. And what I would like to tell those who the loved ones is that, first of all, realize that what you are doing is amazing. You are extremely important in the life of the person who is unwell. They count on you. They depend on you. And some tips I would give you, first of all, is never lose hope. Never give up. Because if you lose hope and you give up, they feel it. The person who is sick, they feel it. The amazing thing that my husband did is, even though the doctor told him that I had 3 months to live, my husband never told me. I am glad that I did not know this. And I really think it's important, do not tell the person with the illness how long they have to live, because nobody can make that decision for them. Absolutely nobody. Nobody should take that away from them. So even doctors should not tell people that, oh, you only have 6 months or 3 weeks or whatever. That should be softened as much as possible. Another thing I would like to say is that the loved ones should encourage the sick person not to focus on the illness. Don't obsess on the illness. Don't keep researching the illness on the internet. The loved ones should organize things like lunches or parties or maybe picnic, maybe car drives, so that the sick person feels as normal as possible and as much a part of everyday life as possible. The person who is sick should also be encouraged to do things that they love to do, to find themselves, to love themselves, to follow their passion. They need to support them in all the good things in life and to help them to rediscover themselves. One of the reasons we get sick is not, again I say for many people, in fact most people, is not because of bad genes, it's not because of bad luck or bad karma. For a lot of us, it is a combination of maybe the food and chemicals we put in our bodies, but also a huge part is because of our emotions and our feeling lost in life and purposelessness and feeling stuck and all these kinds of things that go towards depleting our immune system. So I think that even while we are dealing with an illness, we really need to be encouraged to go on a journey of self-discovery and discovering who we are, discovering how to love ourselves, and rediscovering our youth and this joyful and that is so important that our loved ones encourage us to do that.
Da, kad sam čitala o Aniti, naravno, to što je ona doživjela je bilo wow, ali cijelo vrijeme mi je zapravo bilo tu kako je zapravo bilo njenom mužu koji je prolazio s njom i njezinu bolest i njezino umiranje i onda nakon svega zapravo i taj njezin povratak. Evo samo može nam ono ukratko, Deni nije htio da nam on dođe ispričati taj dio, međutim evo da nam Anita ispriča kako se Deniju, dakle iz njegovog kuta gledanja čini ne bolesti to, nego taj njezin povratak. Mislim da je to kao da je čovjek osvojio, ne znam, čitav svijet na lutriji. To je nešto, dakle već se oprostio od nje i onda na jedan put ona se i budi se i ozdravljuje i zapravo, ne znam, koji je to blagoslov i u njegovom životu.
Karmen is saying that when she was reading everything about you and hearing about your story, she always had this image of your husband and just wondering how was it for your husband through the whole ordeal, your sickness. But even before everything else, you coming back, so to speak, from the other side. since he's not able to share his story with us right now, could you tell us for him, in his name, what was it like for him, not to focus so much on the illness, I believe it was really hard for both of you, but just the fact that you came back and that you're well, what does it feel like to him? It seems like he's won a lottery, like it's an amazing and really out-of-worldly experience. If you can share a couple of words with us.
My husband was, of course, extremely happy, ecstatic that I had come back. I mean, his face just lit up when I came out of the coma. But even at that time, the doctors said, oh, you have to be cautious. She's still very, very sick. Just because she's waking up from the coma doesn't mean she's going to heal from the cancer. But my husband was just so sure that my waking up from the coma was a sign. It was a sign that I was coming back. And he was like, so the first thing I saw was like he was with this big smile on his face and just, you know, like the sun shining, and he was just incredibly happy. And then as I got better and better, I mean, he was the most supportive person. It was like, it's funny, it was almost like I felt like he was my hero, but he felt like a hero, like somebody who has just saved someone's life. And I really felt that he was there by my side, and I really felt that I came back because I knew that our purpose was linked. And when I told him that, I got the feeling that if I died, if I chose not to come back, and if I chose to die, I got the feeling that in some months, maybe 6 months or a year, you would also follow. There would be some reason and you would die as well. And he said, I can completely believe that, because at that time when I was going through the illness and when everybody said I was dying, he felt that his only purpose was to bring me back. And he kept saying to me while I was even in the coma that you're not going to die. I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to bring you back. He did not know how, but he felt that was his purpose. And he said that if I died, he would not have fulfilled his purpose. And he feels that his purpose really was to bring me back. And our lives, since we have come back, we have become even closer than ever, than ever. Even though we were close before, he has always been really good and kind to me. The big difference was before, when I didn't love myself, I didn't believe that I was worthy or deserving of his love. So I was constantly trying to, it's like to repay him. Every time he did something kind, it was like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. And oh my God, what have I done to deserve this? I better work harder to make sure that I prove myself so that he doesn't get disappointed. Now I'm much more relaxed, and he tells me that it's so different. It's so easy now. He feels that our marriage is much easier because whatever I do for him, I just do it naturally. It's not, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think that, oh my God, he's being so good to me. What shall I do for him? How can I be a good wife? I better do this. I better stay home. I better cook this. I'm just who I am, and he's just who he is. And he feels, for him, because I now allow myself to be who I am, he feels for him, he can now be who he is as well. It gives him permission to be completely free with me. And he feels I accept him more, that he can even show me other sides of him. And it allows us to completely even reveal some of our less pleasant sides and not be afraid we will be judged, because we completely understand each other fully. So it's taken our relationship to a whole new level, which I'm so happy that it's done that. And sometimes now I feel that, I feel that we are so connected and so meant to be together. And I feel that it's something that I eventually want to write a book about, is relationships.
Evo, hvala Aniti na iskrenosti, zaista hvala na iskrenosti. Vrijeme nam je proletilo, evo, sat vremena, još malo par minuta. Zahvali, molim te, Aniti, zahvali njezinom mužu zaista na predivnih sat vremena i na svemu što je podijelila sa nama. Jako joj se veselim, evo, još i više sada nakon ovog intervjua. I samo za kraj zamoli što bi imala poručiti, evo nas ima ovdje sa svih strana, ima nas iz Hrvatske, iz Srbije, iz Slovenije, iz Makedonije, iz Crne Gore, iz Bosne, zaista od svud. Evo, šta ona ima za poručiti za nas, općenito za ljude?
Anita, thank you for putting some time aside to participate in this interview. Thank you for your honesty as well. The time is up, unfortunately. The 1 hour just flew. We wish we had more time, but we're also looking forward to hosting you in Zagreb next month. Since now at this video chat we have a lot of people from different parts of Balkan, maybe even further away from Balkans, and the next month even more people are going to join at the workshop. What would be your last words of your message at this gathering? What are the words you want to leave us with at this occasion?
First of all, it's such a pleasure being here, but the words that I would want everyone to know, I would want you to know that you really are incredible and amazing as you are. Every single one of you. Don't take life so seriously. Please don't take life seriously. You should laugh at yourself, enjoy life, eat chocolate, and even spirituality should not be taken seriously. So don't forget to laugh every single day. Be happy, be joyful, because that's the best thing you can do for yourself, for your health, and for everybody around you. And thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so honored, blessed, and just feeling so good to be here. And namaste.
Evo, ja vjerujem da ste svi uživali, iako nismo imali prijevoda, ali lako smo je pratili. Nadam se da ćemo svi, počevši od mene, a tako i svi vi, da ćemo ove lekcije i ove savjete koje Anita dala, da ćemo ih početi primjenjivati. Možda će neko od vas odlučiti da ne skuha večeru večeras i to je početak. Evo, ukoliko neko od vas bi se želio priključiti radionici koja je 14. i 15.3. u Zagrebu, možete me kontaktirati, već znate, znači ili preko Facebooka ili preko maila, preko stranice, bilo kako. Ovo što Anita radi, njezine radionice, njezine poruke, zaista puno dublje od samo prepričavanja nekog iskustva koje je fascinantno i koje se tamo nekome dogodilo. Evo, hvala još jedanput i svima vama, hvala Nori, hvala jej koja je prevodila, hvala Aniti i Deniju, evo, uživajte, volite sebe, jedite čokoladu i mi se vidimo ponovo iduće srijede. Najljepša vam hvala svima. Bye bye, see you!